can't lift. I'm taking all this medicine. I had never been on medicine before. I had never really been sick before.
When I watched Monica, I knew she was in pain.
I was told there was no cure, and quite frankly, the physicians had no answers.
She was too young for this.
I didn't know what to do. I'm in a lot of pain. The pain was so intense.
Welcome to The Incurables. I'm Don Wildman. There is perhaps no happier moment in a young couple's life than the birth of their first child. Parenthood unleashes a powerful rush of emotions, excitement, wonder, and love. But when there are complications, it can be especially devastating. Monica Blake and her husband had just welcomed their infant son home when Monica began to feel that something was terribly wrong. It wasn't her son. The baby was fine. It was Monica. She was in a great deal of pain. She tried to explain the aches away as part of the normal physical changes a woman goes through after giving birth. But soon the pain grew so bad it was impossible to ignore. In her early 20s, Monica suddenly felt old. Never could she have imagined a 30-year battle with one of life's most vicious diseases was about to begin.
In 1975, I delivered my one and only child, my son. His name is Walker. And I brought him from the hospital, and I guess about a week after being home, I noticed that I had some pain in my elbow area. And it was slightly swollen. And I thought, oh boy, what's this about? And, you know, I just didn't pay a lot of attention to it. But what started to happen, the pain got more severe. And at night in particular, it would become kind of a throbbing, achy pain. My son must have been about 2-3 weeks old. I decided, you know what, I better go get this checked out. I went to the doctor, and I came back home, and probably 2 or 3 days later, it was a blood test that he had done. He said, you have what appears to be rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis, you think this is something that impacts old people. I was 24 years old in 1975. And I just was shocked. And you know, I said, okay, so what does that mean? What's going to happen to me? My knees are swollen, practically the size of grapefruits, and I'm hurting. My knees, my elbow, my wrists. Suddenly, the reality of what rheumatoid arthritis was had hit me like someone had dropped the Brooklyn Bridge on me.
Monica was raised in Chicago. An only child, her parents split up when she was a young girl. From an early age, she excelled in school. Artistic and athletic by her late teens, Monica already had a strong sense of who she was.
Monica had a lot of good people in her life, meaning her mom, who died of breast cancer, but she was so strong to the end. Her grandmother, who had incredible strength. Whatever their fears were, they never gave up, and they passed this legacy on to her. And Monica, she just will not bow down.
In 1973, Monica earned a degree in English education from Central State University in Ohio. She married her college sweetheart, Walker Blake III. Monica was headed down a path to what seemed a very promising future. Everything was perfect in her little family until something went wrong.
I could barely lift my son. My wrists were hurting. My knees were hurting. I had difficulty getting myself in and out of the bed, in and out of the bathtub. And one of the things that the physician had recommended was warm baths. You know, that helps to relax the muscles and relieve some of the pain and the joint stiffness. and just getting in and out of the tub was just almost impossible. I had to have lots of help. Thank God my husband was very supportive with my newborn son, because just to lift him, it hurt.
Monica's sort of typical of a lot of rheumatoid arthritis patients. They get the disease in their 20s. Boy, that's hard, because you don't want to be disabled. You don't think you're going to have a disease that's never going to go away when you're 20. We're not in that mindset. And yet it's very common that it does hit women, and particularly women in that age group.
I was hurting, so I went back to the doctor. My knees were swollen. My ankles were now swollen. I was watching things happen with my fingers that hadn't happened. My big toe, it was stuck straight. I couldn't bend it anymore. So this isn't what's supposed to be happening. That was my, cry to the doctor when I walked in the office. And he looked at me and he said, I've never seen such an aggressive case of arthritis. He says most people start slowly and then over years they get worse. He said for you, it's as if you're starting at the very back end, and the only hope for you is that maybe you'll get better. And if you don't, you're going to end up in a wheelchair. And I was just stunned. I said, I'm going to end up in a wheelchair. I couldn't believe what this man was saying to me. And I guess when I thought about what I was feeling at that moment, in every joint practically in my body, I thought, well, I guess maybe I could end up in a wheelchair. But I went home and made up my mind I wasn't going to end up in a wheelchair. And that was a choice I made. Having rheumatoid arthritis really took a lot of who I was away from me. I had been a very active, go-getter. I was always the person at the front of the line, probably pushing other people back. And suddenly, I didn't even want to get in the line. I didn't want anyone to see me attempt to get in the line, because I usually had to limp my way to the line.
It was typical of Monica to smile through the pain, yet her condition steadily worsened. Compounding the stress of her illness, her marriage unraveled. She and Walker were divorced in 1980. Not long after the divorce, Walker Blake died, and Monica was left to raise her young son on her own. In efforts to combat her pain, Monica's doctors tried a battery of drugs, including large doses of powerful steroids, which took a heavy toll on her body.
They gave me prednisone when I was at an all-time low. And I took so much of that, I went from probably a size 4 to about a size 12, heading on into 14. My face looked swollen. It's a side effect called moon face. My cheeks were out to here. And, I look in the mirror and just feel like, oh my God, this disease is just changing me in every element of my life.
I probably would have just pulled down the shades and I would have said, I have a medical condition and I can close and shut down and I don't have to justify. And that was not an option for her. I like wherever that comes from, that place, I like that. I like that place of strength. When I think about every joint in my body that could weigh in on the pain register, the left knee was by far the worst, and it created the most visible sign of my having arthritis because it caused me to limp.
These are models of knees. This is a normal knee with nice shiny cartilage, spaces between the joints because the cartilage is all intact, the bone is nice and healthy. In Monica's case, this is what her knees looked like before she got rheumatoid arthritis. And what happens after is the cartilage gets damaged, the bone underlining gets damaged and starts to develop spurs. And with time, you're actually walking bone on bone.
When the pain in her left knee became too severe to bear, Monica turned to an orthopedic surgeon. And at just 35 years of age, she underwent her first knee replacement surgery.
The arthritis itself actually eats away at the cartilage, at the ligaments, and all of the surrounding joint capsule. That's just a direct result of the arthritis itself.
Even when she had to get around using a cane, Monica wouldn't give up. Her physical pain never prevented her from cheering on her son.
As a single parent, I did the soccer games, I did the wrestling matches, I did karate, and I think I probably focused a lot more attention on him because it allowed me to not focus on myself.
She was always there at every game, and she had him in every auxiliary. She had him in everything. The other kids couldn't say, oh, well, you can't be involved with this because your mom can't get you there because she's always hurting. She came hurting. She was there.
There were days when my pain was so great that I did think about what it might be like to go in and tell your doctor, I can't go to work anymore. Particularly when I had doctors asking me, do you want me to put you on disability? No, I'm fine, I can go to work.
Despite all her challenges, Monica's career path was on a steady rise. Yet she desperately needed to find a solution for managing her rheumatoid arthritis if she hoped to live out her dreams.
The fear that I had, the latent fear, was this disease could stop your life. It could put you in a wheelchair. It could make you non-mobile. And not being mobile was just frightening to me. So when I think about rheumatoid arthritis, its greatest fear is the fear that you may not move again.
After a decade of battling the excruciating pain and suffering associated with rheumatoid arthritis, Monica had come to a critical juncture. Unless she found a solution, the onslaught of arthritis would relentlessly destroy her joints, rob her of mobility, and perhaps eventually confine her to a wheelchair. Many people would have simply accepted their fate, but Monica Blake was not about to surrender.
10 years living with this disease, you educate yourself, and in doing that, I learned there was a holistic approach. I sought an exercise regimen that would actually allow me to really use my joints and muscles to maximum capacity for me.
Monica's life-changing discovery was Pilates. Pilates is a non-ballistic form of exercise which builds core strength while decompressing joints and stabilizing the muscles around joints. In 2001, Monica faced a second round of knee replacements. This time, she would have surgery on both knees. Doing Pilates both before and after the surgeries had a profound effect on her recovery.
You need to be strong going into a surgery, and a lot of people out there don't understand that you have to be strong going into a surgery to get the best results post-surgery.
Typically, when somebody goes into surgery for knee replacement, they haven't done the pre-operative exercises that Monica Blake did. So they're going to be worse off after surgery. Monica was very strong when she went into surgery. She came out very strong, so she had a great result.
Pilates has played such a key role in how I've dealt with rheumatoid arthritis and its impact on my life. Following my last 2 knee surgeries, I walked into the orthopedic surgeon's office, and it was like my follow-up after a week coming out of surgery. He couldn't believe it. He called one of his colleagues into the room and said, "Watch her walk, watch her walk." And I didn't have a cane, I didn't have crutches, and I mean, I felt great. And I had been in physical therapy the week before, and I was, really going for like this next appointment so that, I couldn't wait to show him. And since that time, he is a firm believer and supporter of Pilates as a post-knee replacement form of physical therapy.
The positive results from Pilates were strongly embraced by Monica's rheumatologist, Dr. Joanna Davies. Now, she and Monica practice Pilates together.
Pilates is a wonderful form of exercise because it's low stress, it strengthens the appropriate muscles, it has, you have to focus on your body mechanics and maintaining things in their proper alignment. Psychologically, it's an overall good form of exercise. One feels good when one walks out of the Pilates class.
Monica loved Pilates because of the flexibility component and the core strengthening. She knew that the core strengthening was her key because she couldn't rely on the rest of her limbs, but she could rely on her core. So if her core was strong, then she knew that the rest of her limbs had a fighting chance.
When she first started the Pilates, I don't know if Monica was even sure, but she spoke to me about this on the phone, and of course I'm saying, well, maybe, you know, but again, did not want to get my hopes up too high. And then on the visit when I came, the truth was in the pudding. She began to run up and down the stairs. Never had she done this in the time that I had known her. And I said, oh my God. And we both broke into just giving thanks to God for what he had done. And she was running up and down the stairs just like I would run up and down the stairs. And she said, this Pilates, sissy, has made all the difference.
Okay, Monica, let's just move your feet up. I want you to really draw in those abdominals there. Beautiful. Let's put the knees together.
Tracy Mallet, my Pilates instructor, she's a master trainer, really encouraged me that in spite of my disability, I could be a certified Pilates instructor.
Beautiful. And then come back.
I actually questioned it at one point. There are no other certified Pilates instructors with rheumatoid arthritis that have had one knee replaced twice and one knee replaced once. And in spite of the fact that I had those disabilities, she said, Monica, you can do this. And you can't know how much I appreciate her for that.
And inhale out to the side. The reason why I was so willing to help Monica is because I know that she has a great personality and she's a great motivator, and I think she deserved a chance. And I gave her the chance and she did great.
To say the kind of person Monica is wasn't enough just to do Pilates. Oh no, not my sister girlfriend. She became a certified Pilates instructor.
As an instructor, Monica regularly shares the benefits of Pilates with others.
I've always loved giving something back, and I enjoy connecting with people and making their life better if I can. And since I've kind of ended up where I am, which I feel is pain-free, enjoying my life, let me help you if you're not pain-free and enjoying your life. When I was diagnosed with arthritis, I was told there was no cure. And as I look back, that was 30 years ago. Today, I know there's a way to live pain-free in spite of rheumatoid arthritis.
I think if Monica had never exercised, had never taken control of her body, she probably would be in a wheelchair by now, I'm sure of it, or she would be severely impaired, most definitely, if she had not started taking care of herself.
In her case, exercise has always been vital, and that's something that we try to tell all our patients with any kind of arthritis, that exercise is important, that keeping the muscles strong, stabilizing the joints, prevents wear and tear.
I think the message that people can get from Monica's story and from other people that have suffered with musculoskeletal disorders is don't give up. Don't give up the fight, because once you give up the fight, you give up your body, you give up your mind, you give up your life. You have to keep going. You have to keep moving. And Monica is an inspiration in that respect because she does keep moving. You keep moving and you'll be like Monica. You stop moving, who knows?
I guess another success story. Monica, the motivational person that just keeps on going. She's truly a person in action. She's in action. That's my sister girlfriend.
Over the 30 years Monica has lived with rheumatoid arthritis, her refusal to give in to the disease has paid huge dividends. She's had an extraordinarily successful career and today enjoys a very active lifestyle. Whether she's out in the mountains on a snowmobile or on a jet ski in the Caribbean, Monica's spirit and love of life is always soaring. But perhaps the sweetest reward for Monica Blake is that the woman who once struggled to hold her own child can now, without pain, enjoy the loving embrace of her granddaughter.
If I didn't do what I do to really combat rheumatoid arthritis, I don't know where I'd be. But I do what I do, and I know where I am, and I feel pretty darn good every day.
When making a prognosis, doctors often underestimate the power of the human spirit. With unbending determination, Monica Blake refused to give in to rheumatoid arthritis, a disease her doctor said could have put her in a wheelchair. Her search for healing led to some medically unorthodox approaches, but ultimately to a place where pain no longer controls her life.